right quick, not catch a body, catch a live stream. So, just gonna talk some boxing, gonna talk about this past weekend, talk about some upcoming fights, and basically the latest on the fight that everybody wants to see, and just basically take the time out to just give you guys an update, a real update of what's going on, and basically debunk and dispel a lot of BS rumors. And once again, tell you stop listening to e- extremely emotional fanboys and fangirls, because like I said, at the end of the day, I keep telling you guys this: I'm my own man, okay? And I'm going to continue to be my own man. Um, uh, and that's just basically the bottom line. Now, as you guys know, I covered the Arthur Beterbiev Joe Smith Jr. fight. Shout out to the NYC. It was good to be back in the NYC. Oh yeah, if you guys get a chance, and you go to the NYC, especially if you in the Madison Square Garden area, go check out this restaurant called Salt and Pepper. It's a diverse restaurant. They serve American food, Spanish food. They serve Indian and Pakistani food. Real cool little place in the NYC. I was glad that it was still open when I got out there because I remember that place when I first went to New York for Terrence Crawford versus the Mean Machine. So, it was solid to be in New York. And let me talk about the overall fight. At the end of the day, a lot of people were starting to think that Arthur Beterbiev was starting to get long in the tooth based off his last couple of performances. Keep in mind, Arthur Beterbiev was recovering from C19, and you know, it was a, it was appreciate that, and it was inactivity. At the end of the day, it was very hard for fighters to train around C19. These last 2 years since some change have been just very difficult for everybody. But what I saw on Saturday, the way that he destroyed Joe Smith Jr. in 2 rounds, and they're saying right now the only person that can possibly beat Arthur Beterbiev is Dimitri Bibble. Um, my thing is Dimitri Bibble would have to fight the perfect fight to beat Arthur Beterbiev. Arthur Beterbiev to me proved that he belongs on the pound for pound list. I mean, this dude is just like a wrecking ball. I mean, as you can see, I walked with that dude didn't want to get driven to the arena by, the drivers, the shuttle drivers. He decided to walk there. And as you can see, I accompanied him along with some of my media brothers. And shout out to my homeboy Tyler, and shout out to Kobe 2K, who also helped me, and he came there to cover the fight. So shout out to him. He was there. We all linked up. We was politicking. So I had a good time being in the NYC. But um, I got to say this, man. In all the years of me watching boxing, 40 plus years, I have to admit I haven't quite seen anything like Arthur Beterbiev. He kind of reminds me of a Russian version of George Foreman. Except he doesn't even talk much. And I mean, it's just like the guy hits you, and when you see this in person, see, I was observing this. This is what he does. He just takes away your will. The first time he lands a meaningful punch, it all seems to go downhill. You just start abandoning your plan. And that's what I saw with Joe Smith Jr. I think that first jab that landed on him, I mean, if you look at certain angles of the fight, Arthur Beterbiev was lifting Joe Smith Jr. off his feet. And I laughed at the fact that you had people actually believing that Canelo can beat this dude. I thought it was appalling. If Canelo couldn't do nothing with Dimitri Bivol, what makes you think that he could do anything with Arthur Beterbiev? And Canelo fans are delusional, like a lot of these Errol Spence fans. And I'm just keeping it 100. And yeah, I said it. Some of y'all are just bad for boxing because a lot of times you just make up stuff and you see stuff that isn't there. And I'm not talking about all the Errol Spence fans, but I'm talking about some of these toxic content creators. And that's just real talk. Like I said before, I answer to no one. But watching Beterbiev fight, I've seen this dude fight in person. I think this is my third time. And like I said, he just breaks you down. And you just crumble. It is, and like I said, getting back to Canelo fight Arthur Beterbiev, that'll be his last fight. When I say that Arthur Beterbiev would retire Canelo is just too small. Canelo, not I'm keeping it 100, and I'm gonna make a solo video. Canelo won't last 4 rounds with Arthur Beterbiev. He won't last 4 rounds. And any of you Canelo stands think that dude, any of you Canelo stands think that dude got a chance against Arthur Beterbiev, I'm taking bets right now. Send me the deed to your home. Send me the deed to your home, and or we could bet some money. I'll bet you money that Canelo don't last 4 rounds with Arthur Beterbiev. He's not lasting 4 rounds. Arthur Beterbiev will stop Canelo, and he will hurt him. And Canelo will never want to fight again. I promise you that Canelo, when he saw that fight, he told Eddie Reynoso, I'm not fighting this dude. And for Canelo fans, if they want to send Canelo to basically get his career ended, then go ahead. Because he's not winning that fight. Unfortunately, you have this thing that's going on once again where it's stagnated. You have a standoff where Bob Arum is saying, hey, I'm not going to send Arthur Beterbiev to the zone to fight Bibble for undisputed. I haven't talked to Eddie Hearn. I plan on talking to Eddie Hearn, seeing what Eddie Hearn wants to do. But Bibble has another fight coming up, and then he may take a rematch with Canelo. Then Arthur Beterbiev is set to face Anthony Yard October 22nd, if I'm not mistaken, in the UK. I could tell you right now, I'm gonna tell you something. For these goofballs that's sitting up here, these goofballs that's making videos, these fanboys, these sack huggers talking about telling Bud to sign a contract. There ain't no contract. What part that y'all don't understand? I'll talk to people that actually work with the PBC and that's affiliated with the PBC. There is no contract. So for these lying ass content creators, there ain't no contract. Errol Spence ain't signed nothing, and Terrence Crawford hasn't signed nothing. There is no contract. I can promise you that. So anybody that's sitting up here saying that there's a contract and Errol Spence has already signed his end of the contract, they a lie. And if any of you content creators that's sitting up here making videos saying that Terrence Crawford hasn't signed his contract, and I'm gonna start saying your names, because like I said, I'm not afraid of no dude or no chick on the internet that just sitting up there bumping their gums and telling flat out lies. There is no contract. Okay? There is no contract. Nothing has been signed. So for people that's going to come on here and say, well, so-and-so said this and so-and-so, listen, I'm going to say this, and I'm also going to say this. Don't come on my channel telling me what somebody else said on their channel. That's their channel. So I don't care what they said on their channel. There's no contract. Anybody says that, they're lying. Why are you listening to people that's not covering fights and actually going to fights, talking to sanctioning bodies, talking to the people involved in these fights? Why are you listening to people that put up clickbait videos and that's basically hanging their videos based off just pure emotion? So just telling you that right now. And once again, if you got an issue with what I said, that's your damn problem. Take it however you want. There ain't no damn contract. And I don't know how many times I gotta say this. There is no contract. There has been nothing signed. They don't have the money worked out. They don't have the location worked out. They don't have the date worked out. You're just hearing about a possible date. Nothing has been set in stone. Once again, this fight is still in negotiations. So that's the latest update. There you have it. So that's the latest update, the real update. I get information every day. I've seen the texts, I've seen everything. So to these dudes that's sitting up here once again trying to run a smear campaign against Terrence Crawford, like I said, they're liars. And this has nothing to do with me. I'm not no another thing. I'm not no Terrence Crawford fan. I'm not a fanboy. I'm just keeping it balanced. I am a fan of boxing. That's why I talk boxing. Just because I sit up there and say that something ain't. And another thing, I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, you hate Errol Spence." I don't hate Errol Spence. If I hated Errol Spence, why the hell did I spend almost $1,000 for, if not $1,000, to go see his last fight with no press credentials? Okay, paid out of pocket. So do that make any kind of sense? I gave him NP money. I spent like almost I spent like $600 to $700 on plane fare and hotels, food, all that kind of stuff, Ubering. I mean Uber, Lyft, all that kind of stuff. But I hate Errol Spence. Y'all do know I was at that fight. Y'all seen me at the fight. Once again, I wasn't credentialed for that fight, but I supposed to hate Errol Spence. Like I said, some of you guys just don't know what you talking about, but the so-called Errol Spence extremists live in the same town as Errol Spence or live in the Dallas area, and they don't even go to the damn fight, but they sit up there and talk all this stuff. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how a lot of these dudes get down. Or they live in Texas, but they don't go to the fight. So, that's just real. So, but that's the latest update. Please stop listening to these people that's just making clickbait videos and just basically pushing fake agendas. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that. All right. So now the latest word is. So now the latest word is okay. So it appears to be official. You got Anthony Joshua and the Usyk rematch taking place August the 20th in Saudi Arabia, which actually, in all likelihood, that fight will be probably Sunday out there because of the time zone. I think, man, I think it's might be like a 10 to 12 hour time difference out there. So more than likely, if that fight is on a Saturday our time, that fight is going to be Sunday their time, or it's going to be very early in the morning. That might be one of them fights where it take place like at 5 o'clock in the morning or something. But I gotta keep it a buck. At least Saudi Arabia is putting up they putting up big money for these fights. How do I see this fight turning out? I think Anthony Joshua could make some adjustments and possibly win the second fight, but at the end of the day, Usyk, he outboxed. He outboxed Anthony Joshua so bad in that first fight, and he looked like he was on the verge of stopping him. Now, I will say this much: so far, Anthony Joshua has fought better in rematches. Let's see what he does in this second fight. I'm gonna say this. One of the things that just bothered me about Anthony Joshua, from my own perspective, him, Eddie Hearn, is that we never got the fight that we could have got because of politics and people being stubborn and being selfish. The fight to be made was Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder when they were both undefeated. And you just had, at the end of the day, you had basically Al Heyman. He basically sent Charles Martin over there, and I'm just gonna keep it 100 because, like I told you before, I got to tell it how it is. Can't be always sitting up worried about backlash and making people mad. At the end of the day, Al Haymon should have never let Anthony Joshua get that belt versus Charles Martin because he should have let Deontay Wilder get belt, and you would have had both of them with two belts. Now it's a debate on did Eddie Hearn keep his word to promise to make that fight, but you had, and that's what I'm talking about. Deontay Wilder was your fighter. Charles Martin was your fighter, but you sent Charles Martin over there. Now, I don't know whether Charles Martin got paid the extreme amount of money to go over there, but nevertheless, he got finessed. Anthony Joshua got that third belt, and then basically we had what happened. Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder could have signed a trilogy fight. Both of those dudes would have walked away probably when it was all said and done, possibly anywhere from 125 to maybe $150 million a piece. That fight would have been huge 4 years ago. And it didn't happen. And I just got to keep it a buck. At the end of the day, you got too much protection of people. Because at the end of the day, to a certain degree, you pretty much got the same stuff going on with the PBC to a certain degree that you got going on with these other promotional companies. And that's just fact. Yeah, I know about how hot it is out there, but um, that fight, that's why I'm saying that fight is probably going to have to take place at nighttime. You know, I mean, that's why I'm saying that fight is probably going to have to uh, take place sometime probably like at 5 o'clock in the morning because keep in mind, Lennox Lewis, when he fought Hasim Rahman. I think he fought him like in Africa somewhere or somewhere. I forgot where he fought. But that fight was like at 5 o'clock in the morning. That fight was like at 5 o'clock in the morning or something, or it was early in the morning. Same thing with Muhammad Ali when he fought George Foreman in Zaire. That fight was like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because of the time difference out there. So so that weather is gonna be brutal out there, but the saying if you have enough zeros, you know what I'm saying, you'll do it. They are gonna have to make sure that both fighters don't stay cool, that they don't dehydrate, because like I said before, I can tell you right now, Las Vegas in July, I highly recommend that you don't try to walk down the strip too far because you will put yourself in a position to possibly have a heat stroke. I've seen it, so, but I like this fight. I think Anthony Joshua can bounce back from this fight, but it's going to be difficult. Then, speaking of heavyweights, you had Luis Ortiz versus Andy Ruiz. At the end of the day, Ortiz is always a fun fighter to watch. He is the exception for he is the exception for traditional Cuban fighters. He comes there to basically knock you out, and he will try to. Um, to a certain degree, um, I know they say that your power is the last to go, but you have to take age into a factor going into this fight. I don't know how old Andy Ruiz is, but we do know that Ortiz is between the age of 41 and 44 because we really don't know how old he is. And when you see guys like him, you just have to wonder, is he going to age overnight? Now, he did get the stoppage, Charles Martin, but he had moments in that fight where it looked like he was about to get knocked out. Now, he came back and he caught Charles Martin and he was able to get the stoppage. But like I said, it's been a while since he fought, so you have to take his age into consideration. So um, I could see him stopping Ruiz, and I could see Ruiz possibly breaking him down and maybe stopping him in the later rounds, or just winning a narrow decision. But Andy Ruiz is going to have to be careful. Andy Ruiz has been dropped a few times in fights, and he's been hurt very badly in fights. I think it could be one of these. I think you could have the same results. I think you could have a result where Ruiz is winning the fight, possibly outboxing Ortiz, and Ortiz catches him around the eighth or ninth round, and he puts his lights out. Yeah, I know he that I gotta I'm gonna talk about that later on too, about fighters leaving Eddie Reynoso. I think he left him for Dan Goossen. I think Dan Goossen is gonna train him for this fight. Sometimes uh I'm not as quick to update you on those type of changes until later on, but I do know that Eddie Reynoso will not be in his corner. Eddie Reynoso uh, has lost a couple of fighters. He's lost Andy Ruiz. He's lost Ryan Garcia. He's lost Frank Sanchez. So he's lost at least three fighters. I might would have to agree with that about Eddie Reynoso based off the instructions he gave Canelo in his last fight, where Canelo he almost I'm gonna tell you right now, um, he lucky that Bibo is, I guess you could say, a gentleman, because I could tell you right now, had he turned his head and looked at his corner and he was fighting Beterbiev and got hit flush by Beterbiev, he would have got knocked out. Like I said, I just think a lot of people, I just think a lot of people are still in denial about Canelo. And I have to say this again to Canelo stands. He's not the number one pound per pound fighter. And for you to say that he still should be pound per pound, you're a moron. You can't lose to a unranked fighter on most people's mythical pound per pound list. Um, Bibo wasn't on anybody's pound per pound list, but by him beating Canelo and beating him in the fashion that he beat Canelo, yeah, yeah, Bibo made the pound per pound list because he arguably beat the number one pound per pound fighter on the planet, and he beat him decisively. He beat him decisively. So yeah. Okay. So also let me talk about Devin Haney, George Kambosos Jr. too. Um, George Kambosos Jr. said he's gonna exercise his right to a rematch. Um, I'm gonna just give my honest opinion, and I'm just giving my honest opinion, and I gotta say, I gotta say it. Um, it's time for Team Haney to flex on Cambosa Jr. They owe him absolutely nothing. They don't have to come back out there, and anybody that'll come on here and say they need to honor the contract, they don't have to honor a damn thing. They need to renegotiate, because at the end of the day, it got to make dollars. It got to make sense. It's more better for both of them if they fight in the States. Better promotion, bigger fight, more coverage. You got to be honest. That fight was in Australia. At the end of the day, I know that Devin Haney, it meant a lot to him to become undisputed, but to a certain degree, for them to get handicapped the way they got handicapped in that fight, no, it's no way. We're going back to the table. Team Haney is the A side. They got the power. They got the juice. Because this is what you can do. This is what you can do. Now they were saying that if they decide to move up, vacate the belts, and go a different direction, they supposed to have to pay Kambosos like 300 racks. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. I'm not saying this is my advice to Team Haney, but this is what I would do if I were them. What I would do for a rematch, I would say, look, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk to Bob Arum. We're gonna talk to Bob Arum. We're gonna do the rematch, but you're gonna come to the States. We're gonna pay you 100,000 up front to, you know what I'm saying, to fight in the States. You can make a pay-per-view out there in Australia and you get a percentage of the pay-per-view. Or you come to the States, you fight Devin in the States, you fight Devin in either Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Atlanta, New York. If you win the rematch, we'll come back to Australia. And we will give you additional 200K on the back end. If you know, that's how you do that. Because at the end of the day, you got to fight in your home country of Australia and you got beat thoroughly. You got dominated. You lost pretty much every round. Now, I know Max Kellerman said that he thought Devin Haney won 10 out of 12 rounds. Well, I thought Devin Haney pitched a shutout. Because at the end of the day, you got to start flexing on these dudes. They owe Kambosos nothing. And when you the champ, you got to act like you the champ. The hell with these people saying you need to honor a contract to come back. Nah, I ain't coming back to Australia. You tried to keep my dad from coming there and being alongside my corner based off something that happened like 30 years ago where he paid his debt to society. He went on, moved on with his life. To me, it was a front. So, nah, not coming back out there. That's just the honest to God truth. No, I'm not coming back out there. You're going to come to the States. You're going to come to the States. You're going to fight me in the States, and then we'll take it from there. It's a lot of ways to get around having to go back out there. At the end of the day, money talks, BS runs the marathon. You know that's how it works. You give a guy a decent incentive on why you should come back, he'll throw all that out the window. But George Kambosos Jr., there's no way he should have got 2 fights in Australia. No way. And to me, I think I'm going to be honest with you. For them to throw that obstacle in the way, I think Kambosos didn't think that Haney then was going to bite on that. I think they didn't think Team Haney was going to take that. But now it's time for Team Haney to flex on them. Flex your muscles. Nah, homie, you coming to the States to fight. You want some get back. Now you got to fight on our territory. You've done it before. You could do it again. You have no negotiating power. You don't have a big enough name. At the end of the day, you Stevie one-hit wonder. You know, isn't she lovely? Because at the end of the day, you became undisputed. And I came down there where you was at, and I snatched them belts. I took your soul. I beat you. I beat you with ease. I beat you with just a jab. Oh, okay, primarily a jab. I beat you with basic fundamentals. So nah, I ain't going to no damn Australia. You gonna bring your ass out here to the States. You gonna fight me in Vegas. You gonna fight me in Vegas. And then here's the thing: Devin Haney has a following now. His popularity has risen. He's made his rounds appearing on various different boxing shows. He's made his name. His name is blowing up around the boxing circuit. So now you know who this dude is. At the end of the day, I can tell you right now, Devin Haney, Kambosos Jr. in a rematch, they could sell out. Right now, they could sell out the Mandalay Bay. They could sell that joint out right now. And they could do, if they wanted to, they could probably do a miniature pay-per-view out here in the States. But I would just put that on regular ESPN out here, and then in Australia, make that pay-per-view out there. That's how Kambosos can get his money. Australia has enough people to where you could get it. If you can just get a decent amount of people to buy that pay-per-view, George Kambosos can make some money. You can put it either pay-per-view out there or across the water. Like I said before, and keep it on regular ESPN. That's been done before. Bob Arum did that with Manny Pacquiao. I think he did that with Manny Pacquiao and Lucas Matisse. So yeah, it can be done. So no, nah, you coming out here, homie. You coming to the States. Real talk. All right. So last before I get ready to head to work, I'm gonna head to work a little bit early. All right. So now it appears that Jake Paul was about to return to the ring sometime in August against against Tommy Fury. Jake Paul is saying that Tommy Fury is trying to back out of the fight. He said they agreed to all his demands. Um, Fury's father, John Fury, said that Jake Paul was lying, said that there ain't been no negotiations and all this kind of stuff. And, Tommy Fury said he's not going to fight Jake Paul unless his dad is in his corner. They wanted to have this fight. They wanted to have this fight in New York at Madison Square Garden. Jake Paul wanted to headline a event with Amanda Serrano's. Amanda Serrano's is coming off a loss to Katie Taylor and probably a fight of the year candidate. I mean, they went at it. This fight was going to take place at actual Madison Square Garden. It was going to be on Showtime pay-per-view. Why Jake Paul keeps ending up on pay-per-view is beyond me, but okay. But Jake Paul, he had another rant where he went off on Tommy Fury, and he said he's a liar. He said, "Hey man, we agreed to all your terms, and you don't want to fight. You just don't want to fight." This is my take. I'm looking at it from both perspectives, and if if you would do measuring weight and shit, it's kind of starting to look like Tommy Fury might not want this fight. And I hate to side with Jake Paul on anything, but it is kind of looking like Tommy Fury is being hesitant to make this fight. So that's my take on the whole thing. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Appreciate the support. So let me get ready to head to work. It's your boy Town Biz. I'm out.